And when you polled Americans and you said, did you approve of Barack Obama and the economy? They would say no. But do you think Barack Obama cares about you and is trying to improve the economy? Yes. Who do you blame for the economy? George Bush and Republicans. And he took that tactic right off the bat. Now Republicans are trying to pivot and blame Biden and blame for not having the pre-COVID economy. They're changing horses mid-race, and that's going to be very, very difficult. Obama knew you had to do that and do it hard from the beginning. It worked. It worked for a long time. In fact, even to the point, if you look at the exit polls from 2012, you'll see voters did not blame Barack Obama for it. All right. So I gotta point out a specific cope here. All right, which is that the foreign policy numbers are so great that it is somehow worth everything else that's been lost. That's ridiculous. So let's play the clip, and then when we come back, we'll actually look at the numbers. All right.
One of the areas in which Donald Trump is performing significantly better than he was in term one. One of his best issues relative to term one. What are we talking about? Approve of Trump on foreign policy at this point in term one. Look, Donald Trump was just at a 35% approval rating. Up like a rocket. We're talking about 43% now. That's an
up like a rocket.
On the net approval rating, we're talking about a double-digit rise. The American people like much more of what they're seeing from Donald Trump in foreign policy in term two than they did in term number one.
So often presidents in their second term, usually later in their second term, frankly, will turn
to foreign policy.
So how does President Trump compare to past presidents in their second term?
You know, this to me is one of the most interesting data points, because normally when we look at these data points, we see that Trump is doing worse than other presidents. But on this one, he is doing significantly better, because take a look here. All right, 21st century foreign policy approval rating at this point in term two. George W. Bush was down at 36%. Barack Obama was at 37%. Look at this. Donald Trump actually leads the pack at 43%. Donald Trump has a higher foreign policy approval rating at this point in a second term than any other president who served their entire second term in the 21st century. This is something I think Donald Trump really likes to look at, because the bottom line is this: presidents like to build their legacies off of foreign policy. And at this particular point, the American people like much more of what Donald Trump's doing on foreign policy than either of the two.
Guys, it's 43%. Okay? Excuse my language. It's 43%. Imagine coping so hard about something that you're celebrating Harry Enton's average. What does he call it? Harry Enton's aggregate, right? Imagine being a coper so hard that you are going to Harry Enton to celebrate a 43% approval rating on foreign policy. Here's a few things Harry left out. That the 20th century and even the 21st century, Americans hated that shit. They hated that they did that. And those presidents got their asses kicked in their second year midterms. How did Bush do in his second year midterm? How did Barack Obama do in his second year midterm? Didn't work out very well at all. And
literally, as an American, why would I give a fuck, one single fuck about Israel? Why? They're on the other side of the world. They practice a religion that hates Jesus. They don't even like us. Look at the surveys on this. Evangelicals have an extremely high opinion of Jews in Israel, and Jews and Israel have an extremely low opinion of Christians and evangelicals. They spit on Christian missionaries. They prevent Christians from moving around in the Holy Land. Israel lies to our government, tries to get us to fight their wars, steals our money. Why would we give a fuck about them? Why would we support them? They are hostile. They do things to us that are hostile.
But you had a real assassination attempt, like an actual one, which got no publicity that I recall. What happened?
Yeah, well, it was after the election last year. I put out this tweet and I said, your body, my choice on election night. And so the internet lost its mind, and people then started posting my address online because they were so unhappy with the tweet. And so on TikTok and on Twitter, a screenshot of my address, my phone number, all my personal information, it went viral. So the election Tuesday, obviously, it was like Thursday that my address starts blowing up. I was going to do a show Friday, and someone shows up to my house, some weird looking guy. shows up to my house and just walks through the yard, walks through the gangway into the backyard, and is just circling my house and then goes away. So we call the cops, me and my producer, and we said, maybe we shouldn't do a show tonight. And that weekend, we hired private security just for the weekend, like 200 people.
You didn't have security?
No, I don't have security. Well, I didn't then.
Of any kind?
I didn't have cameras or anything even. I had nothing.
Okay.
I was raw dogging it. Yeah, which was not smart, maybe, but never had a problem like that.
I've always lived that way too.
Yeah. But so that weekend, we hired a security guard just to park his car outside the house and monitor things. Literally 200 people came.
To your house?
Yes. Not all at once, but one after the other. Elections like November 3rd, month and a half has passed. Nobody's coming to my house anymore, rarely. And I'm doing my show like normal. And I'm reaching the end of the show and I see out of the corner of my eye, I get an alert from my Ring doorbell camera that somebody's at the front door. And so I'm reading through my super chats. I'm going through live
You're
chat
on the
messages. Air. Yeah, I'm live. And, I'm working through the messages and I'm keeping an eye on it. And I see that this guy has a loaded gun. The guy's
standing. Laugh.
Yeah. Well.
So you're live, and
yes.
You see that there's a guy with a gun outside your door.
Yes. He's got a motorcycle helmet and a backpack. He's got a gun drawn and he's knocking on the door yelling. And the thing is, I didn't want to tip him off that I knew he was there because I thought, I don't want him to get the drop on me or something. I just didn't want to give him any information about, because I don't know if he's listening to my show. If I start freaking out or cancel the show, I don't know. Maybe he knows more about my movements inside. So I keep the show going for like a minute and I wrap it up very quickly. I finish the show. My producer comes running in and I say, who is that? What's going on? And he goes, oh, I called the cops. They're here. The guy's gone. I said, okay, good. So I start getting changed out of my suit and I hear gunshots go off outside.
Damn.
Yeah. And I literally jump to the ground because I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. And I step outside for a minute after the dust kind of settles and there's 10 cop cars all up and down the street and they have the whole block locked down. Police tape everywhere. There's a dozen cops. Like I said, the whole block is shut down. The alley is shut down. And they go, get back inside, get back inside. We have no idea what's going on. We have no idea what happened. And they wouldn't let me or my producer leave until the morning. That's how late they were there. And finally, at the end of the night, after all the cops left, I came out in the very early morning.
Did no one come and explain any of this to you?
No, nobody said anything. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And finally, I go out in the morning and I asked the guy, oh, okay, what happened? He told me the story. And so it turns out that it's this young guy. He's 23 years old, white nerd, short guy. He was at U of I, University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, about 2 hours south of where I live. He killed 3 people earlier in the day. He went to his roommate's house, college roommate's house, killed his roommate, killed the sister, the guy's mother, got in his car and drove directly to my house, parked outside my house, got out a .22 pistol and an automatic crossbow. Weird choice. And he knocked on the door, which is where I saw him. He went around the house. He tried the back door, tried the front door, and the cops pulled up. He took off running through the gangway, hopped the fence, ran into the neighbor's house. I guess he went into the neighbor's basement because the door was unlocked. He was hiding from the police. He shot 2 of their dogs, which is devastating. He runs back outside and the cops see him. He shoots at the cops. The cops shot him in the face and he dies on the spot.
What was his motive?
They never told me. To this day, I have no idea.
They never told you?
No.
So what contact did you have with the police after this?
They came by about a week later. Illinois State Police came to retrieve the Ring camera footage of the whole incident. And so they had me download that onto a thumb drive. And that's it. I never heard from the cops, never heard from the government.
Not at all?
No, nothing.
A guy comes to murder you. He's murdered 3 other people and 2 dogs. He gets shot to death and no one bothers to tell you anything?
Nope, nothing.
Is it really a country at this point?
No.
I mean,
it's ridiculous. And
so what was his motive? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea. So the story that I read online, because obviously the news followed up on this, and they said that, so he was like 5'5". I guess he was involved with drugs, actually, with his roommate. They sold drugs together, something like that. They had a falling out over the drug money or something like that. The roommate beat the shit out of him so bad he dropped out of school. He had this major falling out with the roommate, but they were close, had a big falling out. The shooter took him to small claims court over some money. And I guess this guy was just in a downward spiral. He lost his job. He got in a hit and run crash and ran from the police. Then he was swearing at the cops when they showed up to arrest him. And I guess his life just kept getting worse and worse and worse. I assume he took it out on the roommate and popped off.
Yeah.
Killed the whole family.
It's horrifying, but how do you fit into that?
So this is just my opinion, speculation. This is like a month after Luigi Mangione. He had on and the shooter at my house had on a motorcycle helmet and like a costume. And so I think he was maybe like a copycat of Luigi Mangione. He thought he was going to be like a hero and assassinate some reviled political figure who was going viral at that time, being hated for that tweet. So I think that might have been the motive, but that's pure speculation. I have no idea.
And a real man doesn't play video games. Can't you go and like do something manly, like with your hands? I'll do something manly with my hands. How about I throw you through a fucking wall? How about that? A real man does that. A real man doesn't drink milk in his coffee. How about a real man's gonna fucking break a coffee cup over your stupid bitch face? What do you think about that?
Let's welcome to the show, Nick Fuentes. Mr. Fuentes, thank you for being here, sir. Can you hear me, see me okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I appreciate the Christmas decor. A lot of people don't do that. I've heard this said. Can you clear the air? Nick Fuentes, do you hate all Jews, sir?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you consider yourself an anti-Semite, a noted anti-Semite?
No.
Okay. Clears that up. Do you believe that white people are superior to all other races on the planet?
No.
Okay. Do you want to eradicate all non-whites from the United States?
No.
Okay. Well, Barry Weiss will be very happy to hear that. No doubt she's watching. Jillian Michaels will be on the show next week while you're doing Piers Morgan Censored. And she said that we need to disavow you, and specifically said you had said that women either want or need to be raped. Now, I looked for this. I have not found as a matter of prescription from you, correct me if I'm wrong, that you believe women should be raped as a matter of policy. Do I have that right?
Yeah, you're correct on that. Yes.
Okay. All right. So she's wrong. She's just an angry lesbian. Got it. Now, finally, this one might surprise people because I know you and Charlie Kirk were sort of rivals, as you've described. Been a lot of controversy floating around that, and people often say that you blame the Jews for everything. Do you believe the Jews killed Charlie Kirk? That's one of the conspiracies out there right now. What's your position on that?
I don't believe that. As it stands right now, I think it was Tyler Robinson.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, me too. And if there's something else, I hope that we find out. But I think a lot of people would just sort of toss you in that lot. Okay, I think we've cleared that up.
When she said, this feels like an inside job.
It does.
What does?
It does.
What does?
The conspiracy of silence.
No.
That's my trick on this show, okay? That's my thing.
What's conspiracy
Someone
of
else
silence?
is like getting to a good point. That's my thing.
Again, like let me point this out.
The astronomically inadequate explanations given, in my view, for the actions before, at, and after Charlie's death, and the behavior afterwards from both the federal government and Turning Point executives.
You think
to say
they're not
nothing
saying-
of his deeply, deeply sinister wife.
What? Erica?
No, he's.
How is she sinister? No, Milo, please educate
Genuine
me.
question, do you know?
No, hold on. Hold on. Please explain to me, how is Erica Kirk Sinister.
Have you seen the difference in the size of her hands with Charlie's in their wedding pictures, and then compared it to him in his casket?
Are you saying she's a man?
No, I'm saying that wasn't Charlie in there.
What are you talking? Come on.
I'm saying there's something up. There's something up.
So you're saying he's hidden?
I'm not saying he's hidden. I'm not saying he's still alive somewhere. I don't know. But his body hasn't been buried. Did they lose it? It happens.
Do you think there's a possibility that Charlie is alive?
I think it's vanishingly slight. I think it's probably the most.
So you even give it a slight?
Of course it's possible. And the behavior of some of the Turning Point people makes me wonder. I tweeted today for the first time ever. I didn't name him, but just thinking aloud, do you think he's still alive?
But you think there's a possibility they faked his death?
Yes.
But then why wouldn't Candace say something more to that degree?
It's probably the most difficult thing to prove.
But the question at the end is, why did somebody or whoever is behind it murder Charlie Kirk? And that's what we should actually get to the bottom.
We don't
I'm
know.
totally fine with asking questions.
I
but
do
at
not.
this point, I feel like Candace is just making up stories out of the blue.
She is.
I'm not saying.
I think it's just
I'm not
going to
say because I'm not going to say because I don't know that Candace has arrived at the right answer today, or that she will do in a month. But I can tell you
She's
this.
not even trying. That's the issue that I have.
That I don't agree with. Look, Candace is the one person in public life, because it was not Erica, who has exhibited genuine heartbreak and grief over.
Okay, hold on. Time out.
I can't tell you another person.
You cannot be the judge of that. That is not fair to Erica.
Well, I did appoint myself the judge of it, and everybody agrees.
But you can't be the judge of that. You can't talk about grieving. No, Milo, you're wrong. I love you. No, but you're judging,
and they have
judging a widow's grief. Hold on, I have a question.
No,
it's an honest question. Has Candace cried on camera at any of these shows? It's an honest question. I mean, I don't watch.
It's a flippant and silly answer, but I know that she has cried a lot. I know that because
I'm not denying they were great friends. I'll tell you what I think. We're gonna lose the midterms. We're gonna lose the midterms. Then we're gonna lose in 2028, and it's because she's a piece of shit. Because instead of saying, guys, let's come together and figure out how to work together, she says the stupidest, retarded crap. And now everybody's running around divided and broken. For what reason? For literally what reason?
Because they killed Charlie Kirk in broad daylight and we don't care about your stupid midterms.